My friend used my coming out story to get clout on social media. My name is Lucas, I'm 22, and my best friend turned my coming out story into her main character moment for social media. We grew up together, me and Nora. Same street, same schools, sleepovers, inside jokes that lasted a decade. She was the first person I ever told I might be gay. We were 15, sitting cross-legged on her bedroom floor with cheap nail polish and bad horror movies in the background. I remember whispering, "I think I like guys," and feeling like my lungs were going to collapse. She didn't freak out. She just grinned and said, "That's kinda iconic, honestly," and painted my thumbnail blue. I thought, okay, this is my person. Over the next few years, I told her everything. The crushes I never admitted out loud, the locker room comments that made me want to disappear, the way my dad would make these jokes about real men, and I'd laugh along so he wouldn't notice how much it hurt. She was there for my almost coming outs too, the times. I opened my mouth at dinner, ready to say, "I'm gay," and chickened out because my mom had just said something about those people on TV. I'd text Nora afterwards, crying, and she'd send long paragraphs about how I deserved to be loved and seen. What I didn't realize was that while I was treating her like a vault, she was mentally filing away my struggles as content. Nora got big on TikTok during lockdown. At first, it was silly dances, makeup transitions, day in my life at community college stuff. Then she started doing story times. My crazy roommate, the time my teacher got fired, the most embarrassing date I've ever had. Some of it was exaggerated, but I recognized the bones of real stories. She'd change names, tweak details, and say, "Relax, it's not that deep, it's just a video." Her following grew. Brand deals, PR packages, the whole micro-influencer starter pack. I was proud of her, honestly. I just never thought I'd become one of her plots. I finally came out to my parents last year, not on a holiday, not in some dramatic movie scene, just on a random Sunday after dinner when my heart couldn't keep carrying it alone. My dad was clearing the table, my mom was scrolling on her phone, and my hands were shaking so hard I could barely hold my glass. "Can you guys sit down for a second?" I asked. They both looked at me like I'd announced a death. I said it fast, before I could swallow it. "I'm gay." There was this long, ringing silence. My mom blinked like I'd spoken a foreign language. My dad stared at the table and said, "No, you're not," like he could command it away. The next hour was a blur of questions and half insults dressed as concern. "Are you sure? Maybe it's a phase? We didn't raise you like that. Don't tell your grandparents." At one point, my dad said, "So no grandkids then," and laughed like it was a joke, but his eyes were wet. I went to my room and cried so hard my entire body hurt. I texted Nora. I did it. It went bad. She called me, stayed on the phone until 2 a.m., listened to me sob and repeat, "I knew they'd be like this," and told me over and over that I wasn't a disappointment, that they'd either get over themselves or I'd build a better family someday. That night felt like a wound and a relief at the same time. 2 weeks later, I was at work on my lunch break, mindlessly scrolling TikTok, when Nora's face popped up on my For You page. The caption said, "Story time," when my best friend came out to his homophobic parents. My stomach dropped so hard I thought I might puke. I told myself, maybe it's not me. Then she started talking. "So, my best friend, I've known him since we were kids. We'll call him Liam for privacy," she said, using the fake name she always used for me in jokes. "He came out to his parents and y'all. When I tell you, I've never heard anything so heartbreaking." She proceeded to recount, word for word, the things my parents had said. The "no grandkids," the "we didn't raise you like that," the way my dad refused to look at me. She mimicked my mom's voice. She fake cried at the camera. She said, "And then I stayed up all night comforting him on FaceTime, like literally, my heart was shattered," and put her hand on her chest like some heroine in a drama. Millions of strangers watched my trauma in 60 seconds with a trendy audio underneath. The comments were full of sympathy for her. "You're such a good friend. He's lucky to have you. OMG, this broke my heart. Thanks for being there for him, Queen." They called my parents monsters, which, honestly, I didn't disagree with in that moment, but none of them knew it was my life they were dissecting. No one knew the kid she was talking about was sitting in a break room bathroom trying not to hyperventilate. She never asked if she could share, never said, "Hey, can I tell this story?" She just grabbed it and turned it into content. I texted her, "Did you seriously put my coming out story on TikTok?" She replied, "Relax, I changed your name, it's not that serious. People need to hear this stuff, it helps others." I told her it felt like a violation. She doubled down. "I'm literally helping other queer kids and calling out homophobic parents. Why are you mad at the wrong person?" I said, "Because you told 500K people about the worst night of my life without my consent." She left me on red. The next day, she posted a follow-up video. "A lot of you are asking for updates on my friend whose parents reacted badly to his coming out. She talked about me going to therapy, me avoiding family dinners, me flinching when my dad called. She ended it with, 'If you're going through something similar, just know I'm proud of you even if your parents aren't.'" I hadn't even fully processed my own feelings yet, and she'd already packaged them into a mini healing arc for strangers to like and share. That night, my cousin DM'd me a link to the video with, "Is this you?" So the thin veil of privacy was officially gone. If my cousin figured it out, anyone in our extended family could. I pictured my parents stumbling across it, recognizing their own words coming out of her mouth, and my chest tightened. For the first time since coming out, I was more scared of the internet than of my own living room. When I finally confronted her in person, she acted like I was the one being cruel. We met at a cafe, and I told her, as calmly as I could, that I felt betrayed. I said, "You took something deeply personal and turned it into a storyline. You didn't protect me, you protected your brand." She rolled her eyes and said, "Are you serious right now? I used my platform to raise awareness. That's what allies do. Sorry for being a good friend publicly." I asked, "Did you ever once think about how I'd feel hearing my parents' worst words repeated to a camera for views?" She shrugged. "People relate to vulnerability. It's not about you, it's about the message." That sentence hit me harder than anything my parents had said. Not about me, the person who actually lived it. She was mad I wasn't grateful. "Do you know how many DMs I got from kids saying my video made them feel less alone?" she said. "But sure, let's center your discomfort." I told her to take the videos down. She refused. "They're already out there," she said. "Deleting won't change that." She offered a compromise. She'd stop making new content about it. She wouldn't apologize publicly, though, because that would just bring more attention. Sitting there, watching her sip an iced latte paid for by sponsorship money she earned off a feed full of other people's stories, I realized something. Nora loved being seen as the savior so much she didn't care who she stepped on to get that role. We haven't spoken in months. She posted a vague, "losing friends is part of growth" quote on her story and moved on. I locked down my accounts, told my cousin and a few close friends my side, started rebuilding my sense of safety one boundary at a time. My relationship with my parents is complicated. They're trying slowly in clumsy ways. None of that makes good content, so at least it's happening off camera. I still think about the kids who might have seen her video and felt less alone. I'm not mad at them. I'm mad that my pain was treated as a resource, something to mine for engagement. So here's my question for you. If your friend took your most vulnerable moment, the night you finally said, "This is who I am," and got crushed for it, and turned it into a viral story without your permission, insisting they were doing it for awareness, would you forgive them because they meant well? Or would you walk away and finally tell your own story on your own terms, even if that means having a much smaller audience and a much safer heart?